Mr. Speaker.
I call Andrew Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to be talking on the taxation bright line test for a residential land bill. And it's good to hear that the previous speaker, as a member of the opposition, is supporting this bill, which is a good thing, because this bill is actually complementary to the other bill that we've been talking about tonight, which is the Taxation Land Information Bill. And what this really is the second part of a package of measures to make sure that we are protecting the tax system that we have in New Zealand, and to make sure that everyone is paying their fair share of tax, and in particular, investors in property assets are also paying their fair share of tax. Now, some people characterise this as a capital gains tax. It's not actually. It's actually an income tax, and everyone has an obligation to pay tax. It's the same scenario if you're buying and selling shares on a regular basis. We have applied the same principle to those people who want to buy and sell houses on a regular basis. And the bright line test essentially requires tax to be paid on any gain from the sale of a residential property within a 2-year period. Now, during the select committee stage, we've extended the definition of residential property to include service apartments and also to vacant land where it's proposed that it would be subdivided or there is an intention to build a dwelling on that. As we've heard tonight, there are 3 key exemptions, one around the main home, secondly in relation to inherited property, and the third one where there's a sale as a result of a property settlement agreement, or in other words, where there's been a divorce. But I also want to note that the exclusion also takes into account land used predominantly for business purposes or farmland. And we've been very careful about the definition of land that's used for business purposes to make sure that we've come up with a pragmatic solution on that. The Select Committee also dealt with carefully the definition of what's regarded as a main home. And we've introduced this new concept around greatest connection. And this is particularly pertinent to owners of houses who have more than 2 houses, and how we've applied those rules, which is really important in terms of this new definition or concept around greatest connection. I will say that the other side of this bill deals with making legitimate deductions and also offsetting losses on sale of property, but we have put a caveat around that any such deductions or losses must meet the bright line test, and secondly can only be applied to other such similar property arrangements where there's been sales of land. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend this bill to the House. I think it's a good bill and it's part of a good comprehensive package that we're putting in place.